To all the ladies in the house, another day in the ghetto, but look outside and I'm already upset, yo. It look about 102, it's a Saturday and Biggie ain't got nothing to do. I'm interrupted by a phone ring. Sometimes I wish I never...
Hi, I'm Paul Warren.
And I'm Ryan Klein.
And this is another episode of SEO is Dead and Other Lies. Ryan, how you doing on this glorious night here? I guess it's daytime for you. We're
4:37.
4 hours apart?
No.
3 hours?
3. Yeah.
Is that it?
Thought you knew that, you cool globetrotting fella.
Yeah. Well, we're 3 hours apart.
I think you've done that before too. But yeah, it's actually funny that you'll be here in December when I'm not.
You'll be
how did
here.
You arrange that?
You'll be here in December when I'm not.
Yeah, but not for. I'll be there for at least 10 days.
We're switching places.
Yeah, but you can't stay at my place.
Just like that movie.
Wait, does that mean I can technically stay at your place?
Yeah, I guess you could. I don't care.
Oh, cool. I've been looking for places to stay. All right, we'll
talk
talk about
to
afterwards.
take care of my animals, though.
Okay. Yeah, your animals are cool.
Yeah,
Wow,
we can figure
nice.
that out.
You just heard it here first. I'll be staying at Paul's house.
All right. Well, for our listeners out there, we have a very interesting topic today to discuss. One very close to Ryan's heart because he just wrote a pretty lengthy and in-depth article about it on marketmymarket.com. See, I plugged it so you didn't have to, buddy.
That's perfect. That's how plugs work.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll link to it in the episode, and you can check it out after the pod. Sorry, my dog's going crazy in the background there. I don't know if you can hear it.
He knows I'm coming over to watch him for a few days now.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll link to it in the description of the podcast for you guys to read it afterwards. But Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone what it's about?
Sure. So let me preface really briefly because I know you don't want to talk for over an hour about this, but there was, according to most SEOs, a pretty substantial algorithm update the past 2 or 3 weeks. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it was pretty big. We saw a lot of fluctuations in rankings. Fortunately, I haven't had to put out too many fires because a lot of my clients benefited. We're not going to go there. That's cool. So it's been easy breezy for me, easy peasy. But Market My Market, the first thing I noticed, took a hit for a lot of great keywords we had. And I realized it wasn't so much that we dropped rankings because we weren't optimized well. It was more that a lot of directories came out of freaking nowhere to replace top spots like 1, 2, and 3, one of which was expertise.com, which reminds me a lot of thumbtack.com, as in it just does a lot of SEO tactics and different techniques.
And it ranks really well. And
ranks very, very well for everything, but it's not even specifically a legal directory. My keyword was like legal marketing company. They ranked number 1 for legal marketing company. Then they also rank for lawyers and they rank for millions of other things. So I just took a step back. I'm like, whoa. If Google keeps on refining its algorithm to give the best user experience, does Google seriously think that a lot of directories taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a great user experience? And I just don't really get it. And I feel like there's kind of a detachment. I decided to dive in, write this article, and I thought there's actually a lot of great takeaways.
Oh, I'll just preface my point of view in that I don't like directories at all.
Yeah.
Because generally in my line of work, that means you have to pay them. Usually like the free service is pretty bad. It's hard to get things updated. And then when you pay to have things on there, you're paying for like multiple types of placements, whatever way they're monetizing it. And they usually try and rip you off with that. And, I've had experiences where we paid a lot of money for a listing on there, for like a premium listing in the legal space, and they had the wrong phone number for it. Went to a competitor.
I know what you're alluding to.
Yeah, and then we had to like make them basically back pay us for the amount of the thousands of dollars. You guys don't understand how much people spend in the legal industry on directories. It's a lot.
Well, if it's altogether $1 billion a year industry, there is a big chunk of that would be directory premium placement.
It's crazy. So I don't much care for them. But like Ryan's saying, there's a lot of things that can be taken away from them that they do well when you analyze their sites, and we're going to talk about some of those today.
Yeah, and I think that the main reason I really want to dive in and just dissect this is because I want to know what the logic is for Google, and this is kind of towards the end of the article that I wrote, but really why I think this is an interesting topic is because Google is essentially refining their algorithm, right? They're hiring the most brilliant minds in the world to come up, supposedly, to come up with like these tweaks and these alterations to the algorithm to create the best user experience ever. But what they're inadvertently doing is creating results where people are clicking to find more results, but those results are only based off of how much people pay, though.
Yeah, and also, I mean, okay, what's the benefit? You click on a directory and you're going to get a bunch of other lawyers, and there's going to be some sort of rating system, or they paid to be at the top. But you know what? Google already has its own rating system.
That's what I mean. It's like, why defer your results to other directories that are aggregating the data you just did?
I don't understand it. I think it's silly, but I think that they figured out, just because Google just, they've made so many changes. They don't know what's in the sauce anymore. When you put 1 million ingredients in soup, you don't know what to call it. And they've just kind of figured out a way to take advantage of it right now, and with the current algorithm changes.
It's either a jambalaya, to answer your soup, jambalaya, gumbo, or etouffee. Probably not.
Probably, I would say a gumbo.
Gumbo has a lot of.
We got a
different
gumbo
things.
here.
I'm thinking about our NOLA trip, but anyway, let's dive in. Okay, these directories are obviously doing something that Google is favoring, and Google's algorithm is just, let's be honest, it's stupid, because it's doing all these updates, it's favoring directories. Directories just are not the best user experience. It does not cover the user intent. And I don't, if you're on the fence right now, I really hope by the end of this podcast, I'm going to convince you, because I really feel strongly about this. So,
what do you just feel strongly about them being a terrible user experience, or you feel strongly about
their bad user experience
that you hate them?
I mean, the thing is, it's hard to like hate directories, because like sometimes people do like them, and then in some cases they work like restaurants. Like to me, it's like weird if I'm in Seattle and I'm like, Seattle sushi restaurants, I don't really want someone that's like really good at SEO to optimize a crappy sushi restaurant to number one. Like, I want the result to be probably a directory with reviews.
Or you look at what's close by and you look at the reviews, usually in Google My Business, or occasionally Yelp, sometimes Yelp.
I mean, me saying this might even just be contradictory. I don't care. I won't get too carried away. What is the main reason that directories rank in the first place? Backlinks, done. All right. So
that's it.
Yeah,
100%.
It's going to be backlinks. The first time that I saw this for sure was definitely Justia. It's a legal directory, and they used to be like the bottom of the first page, second page, third page. They just never competed with these are all like legal directories: Avos, Nolos, Martindales, lawyers, FindLaw, all that. They never competed. And then one day they started hitting number one for everything. You do a simple SEMrush backlink analysis. What do you know? Their link portfolio was flatline up until like 3 months before, and then it spiked, and it was completely a correlation with them being positioned number one.
So backlinks.
It was backlinks. Let's look at this article. So how are they getting backlinks is the interesting part, of course. How individual websites and people get links is extremely different from how big marketing departments and big directory companies get backlinks. So do you want to talk about how Thumbtack did it? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
not
talk
just
about that.
Thumbtack. A lot of places
let's talk about how some of them do it, and then people can kind of like take some pieces from this and maybe apply it to what they do.
Yeah. Well, for Thumbtack in particular, I believe they had some kind of award system, right?
Yes.
You know what I call it? Where it's you put a badge on your website that shows that you're a trusted lawyer, whatever it was, right? It's just like something for you. It's some swag for you to put on your website. But within that little piece of code that you had to put on your site, there was a link back to their website. So when you put it on your site, you were linking back to Thumbtack to that page. And then, tens of thousands of legal websites for lawyers did that. And all of a sudden, boom, they got a ton of links.
Oh yeah. Because they just they take the badge. Badges the code for them is very simple for them to display. It's just image source. Like there doesn't really have to be any other code but the href, ahref, and that's what the link was. That's how it passed on the juice. And people could have just easily, if they knew like a little bit about HTML, they're like, oh, I don't want to pass like my authority to them. I can just remove that part and it would still function. But everyone who thinks of doing that, they just grab it. They grab the snippet, they give it to their webmaster, they drop it as is.
I mean, it's really simple. If you can figure out a way to do it, I guess is what I'm going to say. I know how some other places did it too, that are also directories, but they took advantage of it. So they weren't just a directory; they also built legal websites. And the thing about lawyers, they hate marketing. They just want to be lawyers, honestly, and they don't really know about building websites. They don't really want to know. They don't care. They just want it taken care of. So they end up paying obscene amounts of money for these kind of things. And one of these companies, every time they build a website, in the footer, there was a link that said like powered by or created by this company.
Oh,
so
for sure.
It did, thousands and thousands and thousands of legal websites, all with the links pointing back to the homepage of this directories domain. So it was a very powerful tactic that they were able to take advantage of doing that, and it worked pretty well for them.
Let's be real, that happens like crazy still to this day.
Yeah, and another thing that people do, not so much with some of these directories, I mean, depending on the niche that you're in, but you can think about Yelp. How many websites link back to their Yelp profile? And Yelp, even though it's partially a review website, I mean, it's definitely a directory website for sure.
Oh, yeah.
No qualms about that. It's set up like that, right? So, that's one of the things is like people, almost user generated content in a sense on their own site, linking back to it. And I guess you could kind of think of it as a badge in a way for that too. But people do that. They always kind of link back to those social profiles, which they consider Yelp to be one of those as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a great point and a great way to say it. Abo was well known. I don't want to talk about lawyers forever. This absolutely applies to every single industry. So don't think that we're exclusively, this applies to legal, but Abo almost perfected like the user generated content. This is definitely an example of user generated backlinks. And one thing I want to mention too is, because I'm just going to flat out say it, that FindLaw was notorious for just saying like legal marketing solutions and then just linking that back to them. Thousands.
Yeah.
And
Oh
thousands
yeah. They were
of times.
straight up with keywords and stuff.
Oh yeah. So the funniest thing about the
marketing.
keywords. So you see this. So you'll see this in FindLaw and you'll see this with badges. So what happens is, as we know, it's good to diversify your anchor text and link portfolio. So if you're getting 10,000 links that say legal marketing solutions, that's like good, but it's like kind of a lot too. Like why are there 10,000 referring domains with 10,000 of the exact same referring domains? So they would start altering it and it'd be like legal marketing solutions, legal marketing company, legal marketing services. And so they would kind of diversify like even what they're embedding in the footer. And that's what's so funny about what expertise is doing. So I was looking at if they just get all their backlinks just to the homepage, or they actually get it to very specific results pages. So I was like looking at, one of the examples I have here is New York NYC personal injury lawyer, and they rank number 1. And I was looking at that page and I saw that not only the authority, of course, is through the roof for the homepage, the index, but they were able to build a ton of links specifically to that page too. And that's because they were giving people badges where the anchor text that was there said New York City personal injury lawyer, and it linked to that specific page. So they were spreading it out very proactively. Like, here's this badge that links to this specific interior page for us.
Yeah.
So they're very proactive with that.
In other industries, they do that regularly. Think about like the Knot, right? The Knot is also a directory of services for weddings. But there's a ton of like directories like that are important to you in your niche, and you pay to be on there. And then you also generally link back to it because you can get reviews for your profile in there. People read the reviews about it, and there they are, just building links without you even know it, making you a sucker.
Stop the podcast, pause it, go on your website, look at all your badges, and get ready to get
Take
a
out
little
that link.
fired up. Get fired up when you see that your badges have embedded links that are to specific interior pages. Then come back, start the podcast again, and get freaking fired up with us for the remainder of the podcast. All right?
Yeah,
That sounds good.
that's right.
So these people are it's not 100% malicious, but it's not the best intent for them to be using your website as a source of links. And it happens all the time.
Let's talk about a couple of the other reasons why they do so well. And that, for me, is actually just how slim the sites are, like how quickly they load. There's not like a lot going on. From like a JavaScript standpoint, they're really quick, fast loading websites.
Expertise had a Google Page Speed Insight of 94 out of 100 on mobile and 99 out of 100 on desktop.
99.
I've never
seen
even
go to 100.
What does that even mean?
You can get.
Google's probably like a 95.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And you know what's even crazier? It's built on WordPress.
That is crazy. I can't believe that. It's built on WordPress?
It's probably like modified very, very heavily, I'd imagine. They probably like love the backend for WordPress and they're like, I don't want to do anything proprietary, but they probably, I'd imagine they strip down a ton of superfluous code. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, so that's one thing to keep in mind. I don't know of any websites that load that quickly, especially ones with a CMS, and it's just amazing. So they've definitely spent a lot of work and a lot of effort to make sure that they've hit that. It's impressive.
So, yeah, I mean that being said, if these guys are across where I'm talking about expertise.com, and this is not just legal, it's not just agencies. I think that they rank really high for a lot of different niches and industries, like a lot. If I start doing searches, I'd probably get more and more depressed. There's a reason they put emphasis on this. They take this seriously. And I know that we've talked about site speed in the past, but this kind of reaffirms it quite a bit, in my opinion. We talked about structured data quite a bit. We've talked about it extensively with a guest, and we've talked about it on our own as well. But from looking at directories, they do their own structured data completely, and each one does it differently. That's crazy, but they all mostly do it. I've seen a couple that don't do it at all, and I don't get it, but that's okay.
Yeah, but the ones that do it, do a really, really good job of it. I'm looking at these examples right here. So, guys, if you're wondering how to set stuff up, you're looking at competitor sites, you're doing research, man, start at Directories. I'm serious. Start at it.
Yeah, see how they're doing it. All you got to do is go on a page, right-click, look at page source, find schema, and then you're going to see all the code.
I think you can also use Google's tester tool there.
But you can do that too, with what Paul said.
Yeah.
You can do it the weird way, or you can do it probably the better way.
Yeah. Which one's which?
Again, structured data, if you didn't listen to other podcasts, you silly goose. It's very important stuff. But the example that we have here was Super Lawyers. They go really hardcore into like the person, their job title, where they went to school, their local business, coordinates. It's endless, the amount of information that they can input. So that's what they do. We saw another one where they go nuts with FAQ pages. So that they actually, their directory page, every single directory page has some additional information on the side, and then they say it's structured data for FAQ page, and they do it over and over again, and it's the same thing. It's duplicate content. They do it thousands of times. One
last thing to talk about that they're doing right? It's probably like keyword volume on there, like on page, right? Like the amount of keywords they have on a page.
There's a lot.
Actually, it doesn't really seem to hurt anything.
It doesn't. And I think if we look at this for a second, and we're going to go into why they shouldn't rank so well, but the sheer volume of the keyword on a typical directory page is mind-blowing. And if you did it on your own website, it would look so unnatural. It'd be out of control and off-putting.
Yeah, it would look like when you could keyword stuff and it worked really well.
like it looks like something that would work 15 years ago.
Yeah. Has it been that long? Yeah, it has.
20, 50 years ago. 2.5 decades.
250 years ago. But I mean, I don't think you could do that on your own site and get away with it, which is weird. Even now.
You couldn't. It just wouldn't work. And what we're talking about is if you go to any directory and you see a result right? And it's a list of 10, and you typed in Manhattan sushi restaurant, right? And at every listing, it says Manhattan sushi restaurant. Next listing, Manhattan sushi restaurant. It says it 10, 20 times on the page. As a user, it kind of looks kind of normal because it's like, yeah, that's why I searched. This is what it is. It's reaffirming it at every listing. And that's how it ends up on the page so many times. But if you do that on your website, how the heck would you ever be able to do that? How would that come into play?
So we're not recommending that you copy that portion of it because I don't think it'd work for you.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can do it.
So I wanted to mention this expertise that I keep on mentioning because they rank number one for a lot of things. They tend to say a keyword that they're trying to rank for on the page, typically about 30 times on a page.
That's a lot.
And say about 30 times visibly on the front of the page and about 10 times on the back end in the code somewhere. So maybe schema, maybe, I don't know, there's like additional code that you can do. It's like a reference that even has a keyword in it. You'll have to read the blog for the examples here because explaining it would be very difficult. I love Super Lawyers because they say the keyword 74 times.
74 on the front.
Mm-hmm. And
on the actual page you can read.
You can visibly see the keyword like personal injury 74 times on the page.
And 82 times in the back.
82 for a grand total of 156 times.
I think that you can put as much as you want on the back end and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and that's like an interesting thing. I'm going to coin it. I'm going to dive more into it in my own personal time, but I think that there's a new trend and we're entering the age of perhaps back end keyword stuffing.
Yeah.
Possible because we're looking at structured data. We're looking at new code that is accessible and can be exploited to a degree. And if it's not on the front end, it's on the back end.
Your takeaway from this, keyword stuff the shit out of the back end.
Yeah, go for it. I mean,
yeah, I don't think
structured.
They don't care. They're not gonna care. Google does not care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when Google has ever cared. We're in an age where the 7-pack turns to 3-pack, and there's an ad. There's 4 Google ads instead of 3. They're trying to monetize crap out of Google My Business.
Okay, so let's go into some of the stuff that actually does suck.
Yeah, you kick it off, my friend.
Directories. So that one is like, I can imagine. I would want to see what their bounce rates look like, honestly, because I feel like it's such a crappy user experience going to like any of these websites, mainly because like just the vast amount of like duplicate content on like every single page, and they rank really well for like a lot of stuff, and it doesn't particularly even necessarily like match up with like a user intent, and then also it's making you look again for the same thing that you just searched for, So I just feel like they have super thin content a lot of the times, especially on like the directory side, right? Mm-hmm. And it just sucks.
That's a great point about the bounce rate because we don't know, but we're very, very certain that when someone clicks on a link and they bounce off of it and click another link, that original link should not be positioned there indefinitely because Google is able to see, hey, they did the search again. Obviously, that wasn't a great user experience. Maybe they shouldn't be positioned number one. So we're sitting here like, these directories are all just chilling in these really prominent spots. Could they possibly be giving that good of a user experience? And it just doesn't seem like that's possible.
Yeah,
based off of what we uncovered.
I totally agree. I don't think that they are.
Like I'm looking at FindLaw, one of the most prominent legal directories out there, and literally like the first thing that people can read that's actually text is, oh, you've come to the right place. If you or a loved one has suffered an accident or injury, it's like, oh my God, like really, is that really the best thing you could do when you come to like a directory page? And it's copied over and over again, I'm not exaggerating, probably tens of thousands of times.
So what else do you think that they do poorly?
Well, I already know because I wrote this article.
Let's hear
it. These URL structures, like the thing is I agree with you that they're kind of admirable for like these big websites. Like
I think it depends on the one that you're looking at for sure.
Well, I'm looking at one here. It's just like it's so many tiers. There's so many subdirectories. I just know with no doubt in my mind on any normal website, this would be such crap. But like here, it's just kind of how it works. So I'm seeing the structure. This is for a very prominent directory listing, it's the URL /lawyer. That's one /firm /personal injury plaintiff /New York to get to a New York City page. It's just like, wow.
Yeah, and like
is a lot.
The one example you give in here too, it's like New York and New York. Like the New York's in it twice. It's also like on a subdirectory.
It's on a subdirectory too, or subdomain.
And the subdirectory is lawyers. And then the directory has lawyers in it. And there's 2 cities in it. So yeah, it can be kind of a mess. It definitely can be a mess. I think there's some of them that do really well for it. I don't know if I'd use like FindLaw here as an example of one that's like good, but I think that like some of them, especially when you look at like a Yellow Pages type directory, like a lot of them do a really good job of categorizing that stuff with solid keywords in the URL. And some of them, I think they're limited to like the search functions within the site too. I think like that causes like a lot of technical issues for them. I know like when I've worked on large sites that still causes like a lot of technical issues for us. So that's probably like a lot of what they have to deal with just having such a massive site of that size.
Oh yeah. I don't mind if links go 5 or 6 tiers if it makes sense and it's kind of getting more and more granular. I personally, you can tell me what you think. I just don't get it when it's kind of more vanity and not functionality. And what I mean is if like you delete one of these tiers, wouldn't you kind of expect to get a page?
Yeah, you
back?
don't though.
So if you delete this one that's like personal injury plaintiff New York /New York /New York, and you delete like the last New York, I'd expect it's like maybe a list of other cities in the state of New York, right?
Yeah.
But it redirects to a completely unrelated page. And you're like, so you're telling me you added a tier for vanity that isn't actually a page and it redirects. Like, I don't get how that would benefit you or why you would rank well. Like, what am I missing? How would the crawler get there when it redirect? I don't know what I'm missing personally.
I don't know. Yeah. It would have to, if it crawled the URL,
it would get redirected.
But they might not directly link to anything from that.
Yes, so that means that crawlers are being like manipulated because it's not naturally getting to that link, because if it got to the first New York tier, it would redirect to an unrelated page. So like crawlers wouldn't they be being forced to skip a tier to get to that page and then index it?
Yeah, I would be interested to see what their crawl rates look like compared to the amount of content they have.
Let's get as well. We have to interview them. They're freaking site architects and be like, all right, what are y'all doing? I don't really get it.
Maybe they're doing that dynamic rendering stuff,
That's possible. Yeah. But all I know is that it skips over a tier that's purely a redirect and it's there for vanity or who freaking knows. All right. And then I saw another one that was still ranking. It says it's a page specifically for 2018. Google has no problem ranking. It's catering to 2018. It says 2018 in the URL.
Ranking in 2019.
2019 is just as good. It was last year. It was so close. It was just last year, whatever.
I knew a guy I did SEO with at a large company. We were on a big team, and he would literally swap out in the SEO page title. He would put the different year. He would swap out the year every year for the article.
And then like the content's exactly the same.
Yeah. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah, they're like, this is what you got to know for 2020, and it's like 2013.
I'm not gonna lie, I've done that before for some things, and it definitely worked just fine.
Everyone's done it. I was like, nothing changed this year. It's the same thing, whatever. And then one last one that I think is hilarious is from FindLaw, lawyer /firm /personal injury plaintiff /Orlando /Florida. So it's like not even granular. It's like, let's go to Orlando, but then go back up to Florida, and then it ranks perfectly. It's just like, I don't. It's like
that one doesn't
like
make
do whatever they want.
A lot of sense. This is all FindLaw examples, right?
Yeah, people don't like it. This happens if you all went out there and you looked at your respective industry directories. There's no way you wouldn't see very similar things. It's like it's not doing it like
it's backwards
from an address standpoint. It's doing it. It's supposed to be more granular, and that's not how that works. But,
yeah, you get larger to smaller.
But you know what?
Not
in the world of directory URLs, it appears that it doesn't matter.
It appears it's working just fine.
I know it is. I still wouldn't recommend doing it for your website, but you have every reason to be a little bit irked.
There's like a cutoff point from a character standpoint on URLs anyways. And like some of these on here are pretty dang long. So I bet that like it doesn't even crawl to a certain level for some of these.
But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they know that if they added another one or two, that
probably wouldn't even matter.
Well, for them, I don't think anything matters.
I think honestly, they might be able to just do whatever they want.
Well, that's like kind of my point, is that just like if you have just that overwhelming amount of authority, I think is ultimately the reason that this all works. I mean, that's like kind of how I feel. I'm like, this massive amount of authority, because your website, your efforts, you're never ever going to be able to compete ever with the authority that these websites have in your lifetime if you're an individual website. So that level of authority and page authority, domain authority allows you the leeway to do a bunch of dumb shit, is like kind of what I'm saying. It's just like,
so end of the day, what really matters is backlinks.
Yeah, because the content's thin, it's duplicated, the URLs are deep, and a lot of them don't even make sense.
But not just backlinks from things that are relevant to what you're.
But they are. That's a great point, because these aren't just links from anywhere. They're links from the industry that they're representing. Exactly that industry.
That's as authoritative as you're going to get.
So it's like, imagine authority was money. If you have a ton of money, you can do whatever you want. Right? Or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So,
but also you need money to get links. So.
Oh yeah. So really, I think the directories are just a prime example of Google just being like, you know what? Content isn't king. It's very obvious that authority is all that matters. These guys, they could literally rank freaking smut and nonsense, and it would probably be number one, because half the time it doesn't even say anything to begin with. They're authoritative. They probably know what they're talking about. Let them rank for it. That kind of goes down to the most depressing part of everything, besides the things that we're calling out, is full circle user intent. If I was looking for a service by me and I'm typing in very specifically like a hairdresser, I'd probably want to get a hairdresser. I don't know if people necessarily are expecting or wanting to click on a link and then go through another process of looking for that person or that service. Directories really are an exploitation of an algorithm in order to provide another list of results, but make money from it this time. It's just really the bottom line.
Wouldn't it be funny if like your website that you listed on there was just another directory?
Yeah.
It's just directories within directories within directories.
Wow. Yeah. I'm all about getting really meta. It's really weird, but I'm into that.
Getting deep. So you think that they've seen a resurgence from the updates that we just saw?
Yeah. That's what spurred this article, because they've always been there. I've had other people tell me that it's kind of Google's, if they're saying that they want to provide a good user experience, that technically they should include some directories in there to give a kind of diversify the results. And I kind of agree with that. It's like, here's a website, here's a directory, here's reviews, here's some social, like, how, because SERPs are becoming different, especially with structured data, that I agree that a part of their user experience should be to provide a directory because some people might like it. My point is, why in the world, with a lot of high-level, high-volume searches, why would the first 3 or 4 results be directories? That's what happens a lot, and that doesn't make sense to me.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the changes that have happened, because this is what I've sort of seen. And I think that this kind of ties into like authority, right? So a lot of websites that were in the medical space, so still the, my money, my money, my life.
Right.
Or is it my money, my health?
No, I think it's my money, my life.
I think it's my money, my life, right?
It's my money.
So I've noticed a lot of those actually got hit after this algorithm update pretty hard. And one of the things that John Mueller talked about from Google was like websites that have been paying doctors to review their content so they could say that it was medically reviewed to help with like the authority of the content in that sense, A lot of places were paying a lot of money to have lawyers do that, so they could put that on the article, and they could mark it up, and they could have an author profile for the person. There's like all this crap that goes into it. But he said that like that's not how authority works at all. And so what I'm thinking, he didn't really delve into a lot of the information about that. I'm thinking the way that they look at authority is the other authoritative websites, the other websites that talk about what you're doing, linking to you. I think that that's ultimately what they consider to be authority.
Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of weird, like thinking all these links, a lot of these directors are getting all these links from within an image. It's like, really? Don't you think that that's kind of suspicious, which it almost always is too?
Yeah. But it's not an idea that Google can rip off and make money and steal as their own. So they're cool with it.
They don't even care. Let's be honest, Google. You listening here? Yeah, you are. Because you go
like
through, you listen
MapQuest.
to podcasts, and then you transcribe, and you know what to do with it. You put it there, whatever.
I think MapQuest is officially gone now.
Oh God, this
It was
is
just
a sad
recently
day.
sold the other day.
Sold for parts.
And it was sold for an undisclosed amount, which meant that it was so little that they didn't even bother disclosing it.
They're like, let's just say that we're not thrilled.
I think they're going to just completely shut it down. But Google was like, hey, what a cool idea. We'll have maps on our thing. See you later.
Yeah,
So that's the only reason. It's weird, though, because they do offer reviews on lawyers. You think they'd be like, screw you. People are going to get their legal reviews from us. But I don't know if people trust reviews from Google enough, especially on certain like areas,
Well, I actually just did a survey recently and I was asking people on like scale 1 through 10 how much they trust reviews on Google, Yelp, and Facebook. And Google was the highest, and then Yelp was a little bit lower, and then Facebook was the lowest. I'm not really surprised, but people do trust Google the most for that instance, and that was legal services.
Yeah.
It could be anything. I mean, if you're talking about a lot of things, of course, Yelp.
I think though that was, you gave them those options though, so they picked like the best of the options. I don't know if
I did give them 3 options. I didn't give them like Avo. I didn't give them Yellow Pages. I didn't give them Dex. I didn't give them Manta. I didn't give them.
I think that's
Frog.
one of those situations where I think the directories do have a lot of weight for reviews because I think they have a lot of them. Just like I think there's in the real estate niche, there's like real estate websites where people value the reviews on there more than they do from like Google or other places. I don't think anyone particularly values reviews from Facebook, honestly.
No, it got the lowest response, and honestly, I wouldn't personally, and I'm not expecting other people to.
I don't really even go on Facebook unless I have to publish ads. I have to do some ad campaigns.
Yeah, I do a personal post like twice a year now. Most of it's like, I mean, shrimp.
Such good shrimp though.
So if consumers don't know this already, I don't know if this is a wake up call, but the majority of directories, the placement is prioritized by who's paying the most. That's like common. It's not common knowledge, but
hey, takeaways from this.
Yeah.
Copy some of these things for your own site, and I guess pay for a listing on those directories.
Well, that's why I was going to say too. Like, as much as we're frustrated, we're talking about. I'm talking about this for agency side because they're taking positions. But for you, if you're starting off and the price is right, like I say it's a if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing.
Maybe it's worth it.
Yeah, it could be a part of your marketing mix. I mean, they spent enough time and resources to earn the positions, more or less. Let's be fair. And if they have a good positioning and the price is right, yeah, join a directory. It works for a lot of people. You just don't want to be on directory that's on the bottom of the page because you can just do that yourself tomorrow. So you want to be positioned where you could be positioned already. What only matters is if it's 1 or 2 practically. So if you're not 1 or 2, maybe you should be 1 or 2. And that's one way to do it. It's like paid, like ads, like display, like social. It's like everything else.
And the other takeaway from this, it's not what you say your content's about. It's what other websites linking to it says it's about.
Oh man, let's be real. This is just a very extreme, I guess, proof, but like a correlation with like these positions and just massive authority. It's pretty clear.
Hot take. All right.
Yeah, but
all right. Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. We appreciate all our listeners out there. And be sure to like, share, or subscribe. I hate saying that because it sounds really salesy. But yeah, if you do want to like, subscribe, or like any of the any of our podcasts, or leave comments or leave reviews. We like all those things. Or if you have any questions that you want to ask us, you can hit us up at seosdeadandotherlies@gmail.com. We always respond really quickly. Or hit us up on Facebook or on YouTube. Yeah, we post. There's no video for these because we're in different parts of the country, but we do automatically post all of our podcasts on YouTube. So if you like to listen on there,
Are we on Stitcher or iHeartRadio?
Yeah, we're on those too.
Oh, nice.
We're pretty much on any podcast platform that you'd want to use.
Cool.
And some that you wouldn't.
Well, we'll be recording in person in a couple months, hopefully a bunch, so we don't have to miss any weeks. That's on me. And we'll be more consistent. Remember, we got ramped up and we're like, we're probably going to start doing this twice a week. It's like, yeah, I'll probably.
And football season came around.
Oh yeah, football season. It's been pretty glorious. I've been into it. Go Texans.
Well, anyways, thanks you guys for listening so much. I'm Paul Warren.
And I'm Ryan Klein.
And this has been another episode of SEO's Dead and Other Lies.
Take care of yourself, okay?
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, bye. Bye-bye.